Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Animal Castle, issue number 2, brought to you by Rated Comics. Let's get to it. Before we begin this review, if you like the content we're throwing in, don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. It'll help support the channel, and it'll help Rated Comics to make more comic book reviews and comic book related content like this. We begin this issue where we left off in issue number 1. In issue number 1, where Daisy and the dogs and the goats and all of them went crazy because the militia was rationing off their portions. Now we get an update of what went down. 2 ducks, 1 goose, 1 rabbit, 1 sheep, and 7 hens dead in the courtyard. That's from the fight in issue number 1 when the animals revolted against their king because they were rationalizing their food, their rations. So the dog is like, "What do you want to do, Mr. President?" And Silvio, the bull, is like, "Drink, let's drink." I don't know why I put that kind of accent on the bull. He probably doesn't even sound like that. And the dog is just like, "Wow, like really? You just want to drink after all that's done?" And the bull's like, "You have to see the bright side of things, Boris. All those dead animals, at least the ones that are presentable, mean that we can pay our barter exchange. We may only have to add 1 more sheep. Plus, we're probably short, so the timing of this is perfect." Boris, which he's the number 2 in command, is like, "Yes, Mr. President, but we should be able to honor our side of the next barter deal." So this one is taken care of, but the next one's, that's my concern. The castle needs to keep up its production, but since the revolt, some of the animals are less motivated now. And Sylvia's like, "Of course, there are always some bad apples. I will do a speech to remind them where their interests lie. I will take care of that. You are my number 2, Boris, so just do your part. So let me go out, let me make this speech and keep the people in line so we can keep production in line." This goat and this bull haul President Silvio. He just looks up all distinguished like, "Dun, dun, dun, dun. Hear ye for President Silvio." He's about to make his speech. And you can tell he rules with power when he puts down his leg. Miss B and her cats are like, "Ooh, this guy's so powerful, so majestic. Animals, quadrupeds, and feather-furry friends, I share your sadness for the bloodshed of your brothers." This is a speech he's given to the animals in the crowd. "Even that of traitors and criminals, even that bloodshed leaves a bitter taste, a taste that will be hard to forget. However, we must forget it. If the wolves get wind of the slightest weakness on our part, of the tiniest dissension, they will invade our castle, take over your harvest, and take over your brothers and children and family and slit your throats. Is that what you want?" And the animals look in fear like, "No, that is not what we want, President Silvio." And survival needs power. When it comes to survival, it is power and power alone that will save us and nothing else. Who will you count to risk their lives to protect you from the starving pack of wolves? Him? The duck? Her? The chicken? By the way, give me some barbecue dipping sauce for that chicken. I'm all game for it. Or maybe her. Joking aside, and definitely not the rabbit. You don't listen to the rabbit. Hey, come on now, it's the rabbit here. And that rabbit's name is not Little Caesar, Mr. Caesar. I'm thinking of pizza right now. "Children, leave Mr. Caesar in peace. Come over here." So Mr. Caesar has this like down. I guess, I don't know what this is going to play later. But you know what? The President Silvio continues to speak. "It has made dogs and bulls stronger than other creatures, and that reason is for us to lead. And it's my duty to be firm and disciplined leader, but to have an open heart and to prove this, are part of all the animals who died," because it's for the barter exchange, but they don't know that, just not letting the left hand show what the right hand is doing. And we're gonna give him a dignified burial, but we still have to condemn the evil leader of this attempted coup. And that leader is sheep, the sheep Bulo. Huh? Bah! I wasn't even there, I was just grazing. So now they put the sheep as a message, even though it wasn't the sheep, it was Daisy the geese, but she had her point across. So President Silvio is just exerting his power to flex. "For you, sheep Bulo, you get the steak." And what that steak is, you go down there, and remember what happened to that chicken, Miss Adelaide, I believe it was, in issue number 1? That's exactly what's going to happen to Bulo the sheep. So now, in fear, they chant President Silvio's name. "He, the President Silvio, the one we need. He, the President Silvio, the strongest of the animals. He." I don't know if it goes like that, but I'm just putting my own little twist to it. So back at Mrs. B home, she's having a discussion with her children. The children are like, "Who's going to look after us when you go to work? We can't take care of ourselves. But can you just stay with us, Mom?" "I really would like to, kids, but your father's no longer with us, so I can't stay home with you. So I have to go out and pay for your rations so we can eat." The rations are the buttons that they get paid in so they can buy food and convert that into currency. They get a knock on the door. It's I want to call him Little Caesar, but it's not Little Caesar, it's Mr. Caesar. Mr. Caesar comes in, you know, all chimey, all perky, and Miss B is like, dude, your timing is not perfect. Wrong, and wrong, my princess. My timing is perfect, and if I'm going to stay here and take care of the kids, I need this place to be decorated, not look so much like an animal. Okay, that's funny. That's funny. I work nights. I love little ones. Leave me your kids. You go and collect your stones, build walls. In the meantime, we'll have some fun. What do you say, kids? The kids are like, yes, we want Mr. Caesar to babysit us. Or is it Little Caesar? Okay, I'll stop with the Little Caesar joke. So Miss B is like, all right, Mr. Caesar, it don't work like that. I don't know you. Well, then get to know me. Ask me no questions. But I don't think it works like that. And as a parent, I get it because you're watching my kids here, you know? Well, then how does it work? What have you got? You got too many friends? Do you not want any more? Well, no, says Miss B. Well, is this how you think animals who try to help you? Well, I guess I'm out of practice. And the kid's like, come on, Mom, what do you say? Let them stay. I can't pay you no more than 2 buttons, says Miss B. Mr. Caesar's like, I'll do it for 1 button. And Miss B tries to give them conditions. Okay, they need 2 4-hour naps. They need to lick themselves from head to toe and need to do their homework. They can't just play. They need to learn as well. He kicks her around. She's like, oh, what am I gonna do? Back in the castle, President C was getting jiggy with it woo. Okay, wow. So he gets called, Mr. President, it's time to leave for the barter exchange. Okay, I'm coming. You interrupt me in the mid moment here, you know? What's the barter exchange? She says, none of your business. I'll be back tonight. Oh, yeah, and who says I'll be here? Humor is not your most redeeming feature, Bella. So we know this guy is sensitive. He rules with power, but it's a sense of insecurity if you ask me. So when they go to the barter exchange, they meet up with this elder guy, and he looks at the wagon, and he sees there's carrots, turnip, wheat. Okay, everything is all good. But where's the rest of it at? So President Silvio unleashes the veil, and he's like, oh, there's the animals. And those are the animals that were mutilated, that he said he was going to give them a proper burial in the speech earlier. Once again, never let the left hand know what the right hand's actually doing. So now we see a rat. Very symbolic here. He goes into the wagon, and this dog sniffs the rat. And while he's sniffing the rat, the guy is telling Sylvia, all right, well, good, I can't complain, but it's not very fresh. Your carcasses are pretty damaged. What do you expect me to do with this? The best I could do is make ground meat. So even though he's kind of crapping on the barter exchange, he's still going to fulfill his end of the deal. But he gives him a condition. You got to add 25% to the product next time, or else you'll never see me again. So what does he do? What does he give him? He gives him liquor, dog kibble, just for him and the dog militia, but not for the kingdom himself. So he's working everyone into oppression just to keep his belly and his liquor full. Meanwhile, we see the rat inside. Pay attention to this rat. This rat is gonna play a part. So Miss B gets home, gets her kids, and she's upset that her kittens are, I guess, getting flirted on by these other kittens or whatnot. Get your paws off my kittens. And she's mad at Mr. Caesar. So she goes with the kids to admonish Mr. Caesar, but the beds are made, everything's clean, they're writing, their math exercises are done, they play, they lick themselves head to toe. And Miss B is like, I'm so sorry, I'm confused, I don't know how to apologize. Well, you can start by calling me Caesar. And there's a performing rat who came by this afternoon. He's giving us a show at the stable tonight. Would you like to come? I want you to come with me. So when he comes to the stable with Miss B, the rat makes an entrance. And what this show is about is the rat name is Alzalar. He goes from farm to farm telling stories about people, but it's difficult to identify at first, but it's always about something. And what this story is, he uses like these statues with the silhouette to give it like a human feature playback, and he narrates a story. And this story is very important. Here we go. It's a story of a little man, a fakir, who fights against a king in his empire. The fakir lives in a huge country. One day, very powerful soldiers arrive from another country far away and force him and the people around him to work as slaves. And then this little man, instead of responding to the soldiers' attacks and beatings, he told his people to simply stop obeying their orders, but to never hurt others. So they were like, what is this point of the story? We want to see action. We want to see violence. But it turns out this story is pertaining to exactly what's going on with them right now, because he was in that wagon and he saw that Silvio is riding off the backs of others for his own personal pleasure, which is liquor and dog kibble. The king was not receiving any more bounty from his faraway land because the revolt stopped the flow. To try and control the instigators, he decides to send more soldiers to his generals there, but nothing more comes from. So he sends more soldiers, nothing more comes from. Nevertheless, the king sends bigger and bigger sons bigger guns, and more soldiers. But not a bit of grain, not a square of cloth, not an ounce of gold comes in. And meanwhile, the human females and elderly join the revolt run by the fakir. So the king says his biggest guns, and he's wondering, what can I do to buy this? What can I do to stop it? Can I kill it? But no, that gun is not exactly a gun. It's a symbolism of what it can do to embarrass the gentleman, the king himself. And that is the truth. That is exposure. The king is a tyrant and the king must go. The crowd laughs and applauds and they think it's funny, but meanwhile, number 2 and number 1, the dogs from before, they're like, what? That rat bastard is making fun of us. And number 2's like, maybe, but don't do anything right now. It's neither the time nor the place. And then the dog, and number 1's like, forget it. Are you mocking us, old rat? You promised me this show would be entertaining, but all I saw was you mocking the president. What did you say? Says the rat. You're comparing presidency who protects this farm and whose reputation everyone knows throughout the forest with this violent and unjust king, this despot, this tyrant. What a horrible accusation you're making, number 1. And that's what you're telling me I'm saying, right? No, I don't want to say the king is the tyrant here in your show. The rat is like, oh, well then, you just said in front of the whole castle that the king was Silvio. Keep it up, wise guy, and I'll tear your paws off one by one. Okay, all right, let's get rid of any doubts that this dog, that my show was about his loyal King Silvio. So let's all sing this chant. So the dog tries to sing and he's like, he gets caught on blast in the middle of it, so he has to recover himself. That's a nice save, Azalar. Flip the situation on him. I wasn't talking about your king, but are you saying I'm talking about your king? But they don't like to be embarrassed, and you can tell they're gonna find a way for payback. So the next day, Mrs. B shows up to work. Rise and shine, get to work and contribute to your happiness and the greatest pride, the Republic. Get to work and do what you gotta do. But also, in the meantime, in order to protect the weak and preserve the public virtue, all performances are forbidden from now on, thanks to Presi-dent Silvio. That's a message to Alsalar, but you know what? I know there's something more than that. He leaves, he goes to another town. Miss B realizes it because she sees something here. The other dogs follow, but something inside of her is telling her, I got to save this rat. So these dogs, number 1, number 2, confront him, and they're telling him, you ain't singing today. Have you forgotten your words, little one? Or is that you too far away from your audience? Neither. But if you'd like to see the show again, you could come to my next farm. I would love to perform for you again. And the dog's like, I'm going to swallow you whole, filthy rat. I don't like your mouth. So he chomps on his leg. That's got to be painful for a little guy for such a big bite. But he fights back with that stick and shanks him in his eye. Stop! You know, they chase him down, and during this pursuit, he is severely injured, so he has to climb up a tree or hide in that tree. We got to bring the body back to Presi-dent Silvio, but we cannot just take it that he's dead or swam up in the river and drowned. Well, and I think I can still smell him, says one of the dogs. I don't care what you think, Boris. I'm in too much pain right now with this thing in my eye. We're going back to Silvio. It's official. That damn rat is dead. But meanwhile, we see Miss B holding the rat in her mouth. So when she gets home to relieve Mr. Caesar catches Miss B in an odd situation with carrying Asalar in her mouth. Mr. Caesar's like, what are you doing, Miss B? Well, it's not what it looks like. He's injured. I'm just trying to help him. Well, you can't bring him here. Well, I can't keep him in my house either. Not with all the kittens. They'll sniff them out. And she's like, you're not the only one who has had friends eaten by the dogs. Let's get this rat somewhere safe. So they go up in the attic, and it's like this rotten plank in the attic where it's the only way that's safe. It's too narrow for the dogs to get in, so they can't sniff him out there. He'll be safe. Stay with him tonight. I'm going to see if I can find him something to eat, and I'll find a way to take care of your kittens. Just take care of him. So Miss B's like, I got to take care of him because there's something in that show she saw that she felt she could do something about. Asalar wakes up, and he's like, I will unfortunately never have enough buttons or carrots to show you how grateful I am for what you've done, but I can share one of the greatest treasures with you. Freedom, says Miss B. I'd love to join you, sir, but freedom has never put food on the table. In this castle, everyone lives with the threat of the dog militia, the stake, the dungeon. No animal is strong enough to stand up to Silvio. We have no chance against him. Au contraire. If you have more claws and teeth and strength, then you'll be just like him. Excuse Excuse me, says Miss B. Using your teeth and claws to obtain your freedom is like saying you hope to get a rose by planting seeds. Except I don't have any rose seeds, says Miss B. You have more than you think, says Alsalar. They want you to believe that real power is physical. That's false. It comes from an unbreakable will. And Miss B's like, well, that's all good, sir, but my will doesn't mean much against 10 rows of teeth and a pair of horns. I'm not talking about that, Miss B. I'm talking about what I saw. It'd be a lot easier if you consider fighting hate with love, lies with truth, and violence by accepting some suffering. Bring injustice to light and put an end to fear. Those are the only two things that will release you from your prison. All others will condemn you, but your freedom will be released. The real question is not if you can beat them, but if you want to. And that's where we end this issue of Animal Castle, issue number 2. I thought this was a great read, very symbolic to how we deal with patriarchy and superiority and power. Never let the right hand know what the left hand is doing. It's just this deception with Silvio riding the backs off the other animals just so he can get his liquor and dog kibble. I am looking forward to see how this issue progresses out. And link in description if you wish to add this comic book to your comic book collection. This is a fantastic read. With that being said, Animal Castle, issue number 2. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And also, if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.